Recording is on.
All right, welcome everyone. We are gathered here today to take a look at Bitcoin Beach Wallet. Specifically, Mia has been working on some redesigned sending flows for this, I believe. So we're going to look at her work. She's going to talk about what it is, what she's building here, and we'll give her some feedback on it. So I'll go ahead and just turn it over to Mia here. Take it away.
Thank you, Stephen. Hi, everyone. I'm Mia. Like Stephen said, I've been working a bit on the redesign of the Bitcoin Beach wallet, and our main effort that we're going to show here today is regarding the send flow. Just to give a little bit of context, we've been working on that send flow for a couple of months now, and we're sort of at a place where I want to go into user testing, but we're still a little bit into what I would say analysis paralysis, meaning we've designed 3 different potential flows for the send flow, and I would like most to reduce to 2 to show in user testing, because 3 is a little bit much, and there's also other issues that have been pointed out by customer support regarding the send flow that need to be tackled on. Just a moment, I just want to share my screen. Okay. My screen sharing is filled. Okay.
I don't think there's any kind of option that I need to enable, like with Zoom.
Yeah, so probably it's something regarding my screen preference. I'm just gonna, sorry about that, guys. I'm just gonna do quick. Okay. I'm gonna quit this browser and I'm gonna join my video browser. Sorry about that.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to install ProtoPie, which is why I keep on looking down at my phone.
Perfect.
Okay, let's try that again. All right, you can see it now?
Sure can.
Awesome. So the goal of this meeting, first of all, is to review 3 potential flows for send, determine which one we should test, all 3 or just 2, and is the redesign appropriate for the issue pointed out by Bitcoin Beach Wallet customer support. About our users, we have small merchants, so small businesses that are 2-3 people in it, small family businesses, and also we have various type of individual like you and I who transact like with Bitcoin. However, given the context in El Salvador, I would say that people there, for them, Bitcoin feels very new and it's very different from traditional banking. Some of the current issues that have been pointed out in the send flow, and those issues are coming from a discussion with Salim, which is the customer support guy at Bitcoin Beach Wallet. One of the things is that users don't know that transactions are irreversible, mostly because they put the wrong username or simply a lack of knowledge about Bitcoin and Lightning in general. They don't understand why fees are different for each transaction. Users are confused on how to use a QR code to send payment. They're still used to the traditional banking system. Users sometimes don't understand why a transaction is pending, difference between on-chain and Lightning. Sometimes users get high fees on-chain and not really understanding why. Mostly the high fees on-chain happens when someone is trying to gain liquidity from the wallet and it depletes our wallet. So we're kind of posting the fee on them, but that doesn't happen really often. And then the fact that right now users are not able to verify the full invoice or Bitcoin address, and also that payment proof need to be more obvious. So often there will be transactions between Chivo and BBW. Chivo has a set of different issues, and one of them, and sometimes the transactions are not appearing, so they're wondering what's going on and all that. So if we can better equip our user to know what to do in those cases, I think it could be helpful. So what I want to go through today is I want to go through the redesign of the home screen, and then I want to let you go through send flow number 1, number 2, and number 3, and then the content in the information bubble, especially in the destination page, review payment, transaction details, and lastly, if we have time, just to see the difference in flow number 1 versus on-chain payment and Lightning payment. Before we start, if you downloaded the Prototype Player app, that's great. If you want to download it now, you could do so. Just let me know if you want to do it, and I'll send a link on the Jitsi.
Yeah, I'm around 90% installation, 81%. So you can send the link. Hopefully it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on my iPhone as well.
Okay. Here's the link of the prototype. So it should work on desktop and in the Prototype Player.
Got it. So I should be able to just copy this and paste it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you pasted it in crits or in here? Oh, here you pasted it, sorry. I'm going to email it to myself. It's finalizing the installation process. Okay.
All right, it looks like it's loading.
Awesome. While it's loading, I just want to go through the current app so we have a refresh of how the home screen looks and the central looks. Yeah, that's perfect. You have it, Stephen. So if you can still see my screen, and I'll go up. So the home screen right now looks a little bit like this. So we have the common balance, the 2 accounts, and then send, receive, and scan QR code, and the transaction at the bottom that you can scroll. And here at the bottom, we have the tab where we have all our different features. So once you look at this home screen, I would invite you to click flow number 1 and look at the home. And I would just like your impression regarding it. Not everything is clickable, but I would want you to try to find the feature contact, for example, from the home, and that kind of stuff, just playing a bit around with it.
Okay. The app successfully installed. I'm now going to just go get the link and see if it will automatically open in the app.
Ooh, nice. I like that privacy feature.
Cool. It's asking me if I want to open it with Prototype. Always. Cool. It is now opening in Prototype. Oh, sorry, Millie. I was not 2-finger double tap to open the play control. Okay. It's loading. So what would you like me to do, Millie? I'm so sorry. I was not.
Yeah, so I would just like for you now just to look at the home screen, give me your impression of the home screen. The main question I have is it logical how the home screen is structured? Is there something missing? One of the main questions I have is regarding the scan button. I've removed it because in our Google Analytics, it seems that the scan button is not used very often. It's not a path that people seem to use.
Okay.
So, and also, Stephen has more regarding the recent transaction. What would you do to open that page up?
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
I was having some difficulty with it because I'm just like looking at the computer one just so I can show off what I'm doing. But now that if I actually use it on the phone, it feels a little bit more intuitive.
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess
gonna go. So you want me to open up flow number 1, Millie?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess my impression of the recent transactions button is that it it feels like I'm not sure if this is just like a limitation of the prototyping software or if this is intentional, but it feels like I should be able to just tap it and have it open. Like it wasn't immediately clear to me that I had to do like a swipe gesture to make it work. So if unless there's like a compelling reason, it feels like it should be able to just open on a tap. Um, but
Okay.
but once I know that I swipe it up, it works. Um, I think I like the the different account features of it, like just the fact that it kind of shows both of them to you on screen as like my accounts. That just makes intuitive sense to me. I've got a Bitcoin account and I've got a dollar account. I like the privacy feature in the upper left with the eye. It took me a second because I think I instantly wanted to just kind of like tap the asterisks and kind of have it like show me my balance. But once I figured out the eye, that works very good too. Um, I think the one kind of thing, if I go to my transaction screen, well, now that I know how to do it, let me try it there.
For here, go with your mouse and just press and drag. It should open.
Sorry, that is just. I should probably be testing it on my phone, but the link is just. It's probably the memory space on my phone, so I'm testing it on my desktop at the moment.
So one thing that's kind of here, and I mean, I'm not sure the best way to portray this, but the assumption I'm making is that if I am scanning the right hand column for information here for the amounts, it's going to give me two amounts. It's going to give me sats and it's going to give me dollars. And so I'm assuming that the one that's on top is the one that the account that it received to. So like if I received from Uncle Sam Toshi here and it says 1,000,000 sats at top, I'm assuming that means it went to the Bitcoin account and it was $200 worth of sats, but it went to the Bitcoin account. Versus this one here, wait, so this was me transferring Bitcoin to my USD account?
So, yeah, so below transfer, I wrote USD to Bitcoin account to indicate what kind of transfer it is. So, yeah, that's not applicable. Yeah.
I guess this one, I might be like nitpicking in the details here, but this thing down here, I was a little confused by because I feel like if I'm going from Bitcoin to USD, it should show like sats going to USD. But I'm not entirely sure. I guess what I'm getting at here is just that I think one of the challenges in having a dual account system, like the positives, the benefits are pretty obvious. Like now you have this stable asset and you can swap between them. The challenge is like communicating in a like unified transaction history, like which one comes from which account. But I'm not sure if that is a problem or not. Like, you know, I mean, maybe a user just, you know, decides that they're primarily transacting from one of the accounts. But if I was like transacting from both accounts on a frequent basis, it's like, well, how do I communicate that in this screen, like which information it's coming from quickly?
So, sorry, Stephen, do you mind repeating like what's sort of like unclear to you regarding that? Yeah.
I guess just when I'm scanning this for information quickly, that I'm just not entirely clear on like which account it's being drawn from. But I think I get it.
Okay. I hear you.
I think if I don't know, is my assumption correct that this one is coming from my USD balance?
Which one?
This one that sorry, you can't see my mouse cursor. Oh, that's weird. Jitsi doesn't show off, or my map doesn't show off my mouse cursor, but I'm highlighting this one right here that says October 19th to Lightning invoice minus $20 USD.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would come from the dollar account.
Exactly.
And then the one below it is a USD to Bitcoin account, because the one on top, subtracting the USD and it's getting converted to sats. Yeah. This one right here is plus 10 sats, so it must be going into my Bitcoin account, but it's showing me the dollar valuation underneath. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And then the same thing down here for this one. This is the one at the bottom that's confusing me. It might just be an error though, but it looks like it's saying it's going from the Bitcoin to the USD account. I feel like this should be flipped. Like it should be like sats to USD.
Yes. So sorry, my bad. That's a mistake. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure I'm understanding it right.
Yeah.
But yeah, right. I love the account thing. That feels very intuitive to me.
Okay, good. I'm just looking at RT+ swap should be rendered differently than spent and received. And the swap can be overcolored. That's not everything. Okay. Okay, the swap function to have like a sort of button that is a different color.
Yeah, that might be something to experiment with, because it's a fundamentally different action than sending or receiving. It's like you're just kind of giving money to yourself. You're kind of transforming what that money is, whether it's Bitcoin or dollars, but you're kind of keeping it to yourself either way.
Does these transfers have some fees or cost to them?
Yes, there's some fees on these transactions. Yeah.
Do you keep that stored somewhere?
So if you look at the transaction details, you will see the fee for that transaction.
Okay.
So if you click the individual transaction in the list. But that got me thinking though from another thing. But I want to move on to flow 1 to 10 because we're already 23 minutes in.
Sure.
So,
Millie?
Yes.
I can just jump in really quickly. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I guess the goals, so I took a screenshot of issues in the current app related to SendFlow. So I'm focusing on whether this design actually solves those issues. So the 2 is users don't know transactions are irreversible, and users don't understand fees are different from each transaction. So it seems the fees one is something to pay attention to. So basically what I'm doing is I absolutely love this. I love how clean the design is. You've made such a good use of white space. It also feels like it's very much like the traditional banking applications, just the whole design and everything. Like I really, really like it. It's just, it's nice. I just really like it. So that's just initial impressions. But I'm going to go all the way back here. I'm going to try sending. So I'm going to click send. I'm going to click here to the one comment on this screen over here is send I understand and receive I understand, but transfer seems to make not so much of sense to me, because as a native English speaker I see send and transfer as meaning the same thing. There's just a slight variation in the thickness of the font here, so just with transfer and send, but maybe that's just because of the prototype. So I'm going to click on send. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to pretend I'm typing in. Let's see. Okay, pretend I'm typing in. Okay, let's go pick a contact. No, doesn't want me to do this.
So just to give a situation, the situation is I'm showing you a QR code and you're trying to send money to me. So that's the situation I've sort of designed the prototype for. And then we have like the first flow. I would like you to like whatever designer for you, just to go through it, the whole flow. Just give me your quick impression on that first flow, and then we're going to go to the second and third. Yeah.
Okay. So when I'm clicking send over here and I'm clicking next, it's asking me to review my payment. Review payment carefully. BBB can't revert the transaction. Love that, because that was one of the problems that the users face. It is final. Very good. Solves one of the problems of the current app interface. So now I'm going to click review payment. Brilliant. So you're forcing them, you're not forcing them, but you're making them review the payment so that they can see the fees, which was also a problem that you're trying to solve. Perfect. Yep, good. Slide to send. Okay. I like it. Yeah, that's my feedback. It solves the problems, the fee problems, and it's forcing the user flow is forcing the user to first review the fees before they finalize the transaction. And you're also telling them that, listen, this is final. You cannot go back. So yeah, that's my quick review.
Okay.
Should I open up the second one now?
I just want to, if Steven, you already went through the first one, I would want to know your impression. If you guys are ready to go to the second one, then yeah, I would want to go to the second one.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just keep it short. I've gone through the send flow on the Lightning and on the Bitcoin address one. I see you're providing a lot of messaging there about, hey, are you sure you want to do this? This is irreversible. And I see you've kind of provided these little informational tidbits throughout, like, why is this fee here? And then it takes you to this section where you can get more information. So that all seems really cool. So yeah, let's look at the second one.
Okay, let's go to the second one.
Okay, let me see how I get to that on mine.
So to go back to the second one, you just have to go back to the home screen of flow number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you press on the Bitcoin Beach logo.
There we go. Got it.
Yep. Then flow 2.
Cool. I'm on the second one now.
Yeah. So the home screen is the same for all the flows. It is really the send that I want to see.
Cool.
Okay.
Let's go to the send. Okay. Initial impressions. I like the first flow better, just feeling wise. It's like, I don't know, the initial feeling I got internally when I opened up the screen was like, wow, like there's so many things, there's so many information points to fill in over here. It feels like almost a bit overwhelming. Wait, let me go back. Okay, but I want to do this. This is a QR code. This is not a QR code one, right? This is like...
Yeah, it's again a QR code. The situation that I designed this for is you scan a Lightning invoice that is amountless.
Okay. Let's see. No, it's I don't know. It feels like there's too much of. It feels a little bit of overwhelm. I don't know why. That's just my initial like intuitive feeling. I definitely like the first one more. Description. Okay, I'm gonna write a note here. Set note for review payment. Set note. Okay. No, let's go back here. 30 characters left. Set note. Review payment. Okay, review payment carefully. It's final. And then once again, it's the same screen as the other one. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of like my initial knee-jerk reaction was that it does just feel more complicated than the first one. I mean, I'm used to looking. It does. I mean, here's the thing. I just went back to the first flow just to compare the two of them, and they're like, you're really collecting the same amount of information every single time. It's just that the first one kind of doesn't let you know what's all involved in a payment. It's just kind of like, okay, who do you want us to send to? Okay, how much do you want to send? Okay, this is going to be type in a memo. So it just kind of like, it kind of breaks it up, and it doesn't feel as overwhelming. This kind of is more transparent. It tells you everything that you're going to have to do, but it kind of gives you a lot of information all at once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also for that flow, it's an insight like that I got from Easy, who's in the call today, I believe. So like from traditional banking, like what sometimes users will be in different situations and it won't be like the destination that they will think first, but for example the amount, and that page gives them like really the flexibility to fill in how whatever order. Of course, if it's a Lightning invoice that has an amount, everything will be filled in automatically. But yeah, something to think about. Also,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
there's something nice about this page too. Is that one thing that's kind of cool about it is even though it's a lot of information at once, is it tells you where it gives you the like you see the whole transaction all at once, and so like I can choose like which account it's coming from, and so that's actually kind of nice. Even though it is a lot of information at once, I'm kind of torn because I also kind of like just transparently seeing it all laid out in front of me like this, and it's like uh, I don't have to wonder like when I scan someone's Lightning invoice, I don't have to wonder if the app is going to give me the option to choose which account it's pulling it from later. Like I can see the entire transaction laid out in front of me, and so that's actually something that's kind of nice about this screen, even though it looks more complicated.
Okay.
And you also, just to comment as well, you did a great job of, even though the screen is packed of information, you still, the way you designed it made it feel a little bit less overwhelming, like because of your use of white space and because of how you went for the light gray over here, it still feels less, the design makes the complexity feel less overwhelming. So great job on the design.
Thank
Yeah.
you. All right.
Let's go to the third one.
Yeah, third one. So same thing, just click the Bitcoin Beach logo.
Cool. I opened it on a new tab. All right.
So again, the situation is I'm showing you a QR code because I want to receive money.
The one thing that I'm noticing, in the issues you wrote, issues in the current app related to SendFlow, users are not, where was this here? Users don't understand why a transaction is pending. So I was wondering if maybe, what kind of like notifications do you maybe have in the user flow for pending payments?
Yes. So the flow number 2 and 3, I added them quite recently. So I didn't have the time to add that functionality regarding on-chain and a Lightning payment in flow 2 and 3. However, in flow 1, I have it, and I can show it to you, the difference. But let's finish like all these flows and yeah.
All right, cool.
Can you share a link to the Google Doc? I don't have a Google Doc, but I think Steven started a Figma document, and I think we can all write here.
Yeah, it should be there at the top of the chat.
Yeah, I shared it again.
Cool. Yeah, the only thing here is I'm not sure if I've gotten into like a little prototype bug, but I can't actually get to, because my amount got cleared. That's what happened. Wait, let me try this again. Okay, say $52. All right, there we go. Okay, that just got a little tied up. Okay, view payment. Yep, view payment carefully. Seems good. Boom. Okay, I think something's gotten a little tripped up in the prototype layer because I don't think that wasn't what happened before.
Yeah, so if you change like accounts multiple times, it's a bit hard to prototype to make a prototype like that. Yeah, that's all.
I'm just going to reload the page and go through that again. I don't know. I'm kind of liking this third one. It kind of blends together some things I like about the first and the second one.
Mm-hmm. Like what?
Well, it's nice that the very first thing you see in the third one is very simple. It's just, who do you want to pay? Do you want to type in their Bitcoin Beach, Lightning address, or do you want to scan it, a QR code? But it's just very, very clear. You have one thing to do: choose who you're going to pay. But then once you, so like I said, very, very clear. Immediately, it's who do you want to pay? Then I choose. Oh, whoops! I accidentally went back to the first one. The three.
Yeah, I think there's actually one of the back buttons may be sending to the wrong destination. So to make sure that you're in flow 3, if you go kind of reset and click the on the home, click the BBW logo, you can like reset into flow 3.
Okay, let me make sure I'm just on there just to be sure. Reset, flow 3, send. That's what I mean. So it's very nice. It's just very simple. Who are you going to pay? Scan their code. Then it gives me, it takes what I liked about Flow 2 and it just shows me transparently everything to do with the transaction. I don't have to guess when it's going to ask me which account I want to use. I can see it right here. I can choose it. So, I mean, yeah, I think personally, if I had to choose my two favorites, I think it's the first one and the third one.
Okay.
And the first one might be good. Like, I don't know, like some people, because they're, like I said, I mean, I like just kind of knowing everything and being able to see the whole transaction from start to finish. But there's also a lot of merits to the first one where you just kind of like ask a different question to the user on each screen. Who do you want to send to? How much do you want to send? Which account do you want to send from? Are you sure you want to do this? And so I think, I think very much depend on what resonates most with your target audience here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think I'm also in favor of the third flow for the same reason as Stephen, because it feels like a I don't know, like a collection of the good things from 1 and 2. Because when I click send here, and I'm not sure if I'm doing something differently, but I click scan. When I click test number 2, I don't know if I'm supposed to be clicking there.
That's not
the wrong.
Yeah.
Is this the right one I clicked?
No, it's not the right flow. This is not flow number 3. Go back to the home page.
Okay, but then I should probably point out something about this flow then. Which user flow is this one if I click on 2?
It's flow number 1.
Ah, because something that I didn't notice the first time that I checked is this little thing over here. That is so important. A payment to a Bitcoin address can take between 10 minutes to a few hours to confirm. This is absolute gold here because it solves the issue of, I'm just reading it on my screen here. Users don't understand why transaction is pending. This is a big one. And it's quite a big pain point. So I really, really like that.
I liked that as well.
Yeah, that gets 10 points from flow number 1. Okay, so click back here and go on flow number 3. Click send, click scan. Okay, now I'm on the right one. Cool. Definitely still like flow number 2 in terms of it automatically pulling in the information. I do like the design of this screen over here. It's just, I like the very big numbers and, the bold font. Everything is just so, if a user has slight accessibility issues or eyesight issues, they're going to be able to really use the screen very well. I really like that. Description, write a note.
Well, I think another thing important to note about like both 2 and 3 is that, like, I mean, obviously, like it runs in. It's always a challenge with these kinds of prototypes to be able to have it like accurately reflect all the real world conditions. But I think that it's pretty safe to assume that if if we scanned a Lightning invoice and that invoice had an amount encoded in there, then I imagine that field, that amount field, would auto-populate with the correct value. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Mia.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like flow number one is the most advanced in terms of prototyping because I have all the different situation, like invoice with an amount, amountless invoice, Bitcoin with address with an amount, Bitcoin address with no amount. And flow three, I don't have that yet because I didn't have the time. But I can definitely, this is definitely something I can add prior to user testing. I have a bit of time regarding that. But yeah, it will automatically populate the next page in flow three if this can align invoice with amount.
Flow number one is the winner for me. Yeah. It's just it's all the little, it's the way the information just automatically pulls in. I love this, taking that you're giving them an indication of their time so that they're not in a panic of like, where's my money gone? How long is it going to take? You know, all information is automatically pulled in. You're reviewing payment. It feels a lot more like that, you know, traditional banking app, you know, because when you're, yeah, I don't know. I definitely number one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there anyone else in the call that would like to give feedback, or if not, I'm gonna continue on to other stuff.
Hey Mia, this is easy. I just wanted to maybe come back to kind of the viewing the holistic transaction in option 2 and 3 and to some of the feedback that Stephen had, if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, obviously I think the key insight or the advantage of what was in Flow 2 is just maintaining context of the overall transaction, right? I think Stephen, that's what you said you liked about it. You
Yeah.
kind of see the whole transaction in one place. I wonder.
And the same with 3. And the same with 3.
And the same with 3. I think 3, it just starts with, okay, who do you want to send the money to? And then now I'm going to see kind of the whole transaction. I think one problem that solves, of course, is like in Flow 1, you're breaking down the transaction on a bunch of separate screens, right? And segmenting the flow can kind of help with cognitive load for the customer. But also, depending on the type of transaction, whether it's a send or receive or on-chain or Lightning, it's going to display those screens, and well, they're all conditional, right? So they're going to display, they may or may not display, and then they're going to display in different orders.
Yeah.
So it does kind of introduce a different type of cognitive load, I suppose. And so I wonder, you know, with the goal of trying to maintain, like, and even educating the customers. Here's what a Bitcoin transaction looks like, or here's what a Lightning transaction looks like. You know, with a single layout, you can kind of conditionally display some of those fields. So maybe, like you said, with amount, it doesn't display with the Lightning labels, right? Or it displays, but it's not an input field, right? It's just static. Or you know. Well, with the receive,
sorry, Easy. I'm going to interrupt you. Do you have like Bluetooth headphones that might be dying? You're turning into a robot in real time.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to make sure I can hear what you're saying.
Okay.
Do you have maybe switch microphone or something like that?
Yeah. Is this helping?
Yeah,
yes.
Helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay,
right.
My bad. Yeah.
All good.
Did you hear anything of what I said? You know, or is it all?
Connective load that a screen will be showed depending on the situation. I think you were at that.
Yeah. So, I guess you know the advantage of showing a single screen is that all the fields are conditional, right? So depending on if it's a send or receive or on-chain or Lightning, you know, we can display any the fields in any order, basically. But you're maintaining context of the overall transaction, right? So the customer never loses track of like, where was my transaction? Something, an insight from Legacy Finance that we found was really interesting in terms of navigation is customers get really disoriented by back arrows, especially when they're doing financial transactions. And I think this is a really cool insight for the Bitcoin community, you know, because if a person's sending a, you know, wire transfer or just anything, you know, a Zelle payment, something like that, if they see a back arrow, they enter the amount and they get through the transaction, but it's split up into parts. Sometimes they're afraid of tapping that back arrow that they'll lose progress. And in some more, you know, complex flows, that can be pretty detrimental. So you can imagine in this case, it's like an on-chain transaction and you've done all this stuff and you've adjusted the fee slider, for example, right? You could lose you could lose that progress. Can you guys hear me?
You're turning into a robot again.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, great.
But I mean, I understood what you were saying there. It just was garbled.
Yeah.
Slightly.
Okay.
But I got the
suppose
basic gist.
what I wanted to ask, I guess, Stephen, is if that kind of layout could be segmented, like you could use like progressive disclosure, for example, right? So that you could you'd see a from and a to field. It's still the same layout. We're just not overwhelming the customer with all the fields at once. Would that possibly be of value?
Sorry, I muted myself there. Yeah, I think that could be of value. I mean, I'm just trying to imagining what you're talking about. It's like you've got this, you know, you could think about it as like, okay, I've got this big page and, this long, page full of form fields. And I could kind of like, depending on, different properties of this transaction, whether it's on chain or lightning or whatever. I could, populate it with different form fields depending. That could be one way of approaching it. You could also think about it like maybe the field, like the form kind of like grows. It's like, so it's like you see the form and it's like, there's only one thing on there. It's like, selecting the to field. And then it's like, okay, you choose your to, and then it like animates on like another form field, like what account do you want to pull from? And then it animates on, okay, how much do you want to pull? And, as the transaction kind of changes, maybe the form kind of grows. That could be one way of thinking about it. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, progressive disclosure, right? And I think
okay, now you're completely illegible. I'm sorry. It's gotten a lot worse. I'll give up. Thanks.
Appreciate the insight, Easy.
Yeah.
If you have a different mic, I'd love to hear it. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Easy, definitely write to me like on Mattermost or send me a Loom, and I would be really happy to listen to that. All right. Okay, I think we sort of wrapped up regarding flow number 1, number 2, and number 3. Now, the question I want to ask is regarding the copy in the information bubbles. So I would go to send flow number 1, I think, because this is where I have all of them. And in the send screen, there's an information bubble. I would like you to read it and just let me know if there's a way to shorten that text, make it clearer, or it's good as it is.
Okay, so I need to go back to flow 1 now, and then I need to go to test number 2.
It doesn't really matter if it's test number 2. It's really more the information bubbles regarding on the when you put the destination in.
Got it. Just want to make sure I'm looking in the right place. So like here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. I love that it tells you, it warns you that this particular transaction is going to take longer. User may not even known that they were scanning an on-chain address, but when they do scan it, it's going to take a long time. And I like that you're warning them here how to make an instant payment. And then send money instantly, ask recipient for one of these. Lightning invoice, most used. You tell them a little bit of information. Yeah, this all makes sense to me. The one thing I'm not sure about is with like the Lightning address and the Bitcoin Beach Wallet address, does it make sense to just treat these as one thing? I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I like that it's I like that it's showing all the different options. It provides you a little bit of guidance. I'm just trying to think. There's so much information. I mean, like I perfectly understand what this screen is telling me. I perfectly understand all this information, and I'm just trying to put myself in the mindset of like someone who's not used to understanding all these different payment formats.
Yeah,
It's
like,
hard.
yeah. I acknowledge that this question is hard for us to respond because we know so much about Bitcoin. So that's definitely something I want to show to someone that is not used to Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you okay for me to jump in, Stephen,
Yeah, that sounds good.
I really like that this is like, it's super clear. Like, I don't understand something, I click here if I don't understand something. You're like offering help on the interface, which is really, really good usability principles. And it's big and wide and yeah, it's just obvious. So when I'm clicking here, I really like this as well because it's like, hey, do you want to spend 30 seconds or do you want to read? So you're giving me an indication of my time that it's going to take me to learn whatever I'm trying to understand. These ones over here, in terms of the design of the options here, maybe to kind of make a bit more differentiation between the four options, maybe like a kind of a clickable button or something, because then it makes it feel, if you kind of scan this really quickly, it feels like maybe this is just text or like bullet points if I'm like in a rush. But if it has more maybe of like a button format, it might be interesting to explore. Clicking on this one and then scrolling down. This one looks good in terms of the text. It feels very human. Small spelling error over here. It is a series of numbers and letters, but yeah, I'm a terrible speller, so it's funny for me to to notice something in someone else's spelling. But BB wallet address. This one is also great. I like it that you've kept the text really short and sweet. Yeah, perfect. You've kept it. And you also, the thing that you've done nicely here is you're offering the two different learner types here. Like if one person's more visual, they can go for the visual option. Or if one person wants to read, then they can go for the reading option. It's same comment as Stephen is, since we're knee deep in this world, we fully understand these words, but like the end user, the question is whether they understand it. And that might be something you can maybe better test with real users. So yeah, that's my feedback.
But and another thing, just to provide some context, I mean, yeah, and I think I agree with everything you said. I think we're very much on the same page there, Mo. But another thing we should keep in context with that screen about the on-chain address is that, like, I almost see that as like a failure condition. Like, if somebody's gotten to that screen, it's not that Bitcoin Beach Wallet has failed; it's that the other wallet has failed. Like, if we think about people transacting in Bitcoin, I think it's probably going to be a non-controversial opinion on this call that Lightning should be the default for kind of day-to-day transactions. So if somebody's been presented with an on-chain address, unless it's for like a high amount, like you're paying your employee's salary or something, unless it's like one of those kind of edge cases, it probably should be going over Lightning. And a lot of these wallets and services should be defaulting to Lightning. So when somebody gets that on-chain warning, that's going to be a special situation that hopefully they don't encounter that often. And, we've seen kind of this movement to try and get Chivo and all that to default to Lightning, which I think is good progress. And so just to think about it, this may not be directly helpful to Mia, but like just thinking about it, like this is like a broader industry-wide user experience problem of encouraging wallets and services to default to Lightning and stuff like that instead of defaulting to on-chain.
Thank you, Stephen. Yes, Yashrai.
Yeah. Hello. So my name is Yashraj. Getting that out of the way, I just wanted to talk about the copy there because the text field is fine, but below the QR code icon, it says scan lightning invoice or Bitcoin address QR code. And I was just thinking, especially in the light of what Steven just said, uh, does it really uh, does the user care what type of an address or or QR code it is. We could just say scan QR code, and we are already able to identify and scan the the different types of QR codes. So as far as the user is concerned, it just works, and we don't even probably need to talk about different kinds of invoice and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally understand your point. I think that's one of the chicken and the egg problem with Bitcoin in general. Like in a situation that someone has never really transact in it, I I went with the more precise route, and that's why I went writing with Bitcoin and Lightning Invoice. Because then if I have just scanned a QR code, I'm like, does the user know? Let's say they scan a QR code, but then they have an error, and that QR code is just like random or whatever. Are we really like helping user also in that case? But I hear you. I hear you. And it's definitely for regular users. Like we shouldn't have this issue. But I'm also thinking for new people, I guess.
Well, and sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So and then when you click on the QR code icon, the the heading at the top, like it is the same heading, it is the same copy, right? And it seems like it is too long. Scan recipient's lightning invoice or Bitcoin address QR code. Kind of it seems kind of too long. And
Mhm.
then, and maybe this is like a limitation of the prototyping app, but I have the sandwich icon right next to that, and maybe we shouldn't have that.
Which icon we shouldn't have?
The sandwich bar, right? The sandwich menu that we have on the right side,
Hamburger
and
menu.
the icon is there.
Okay, hamburger menu in
Yeah, sorry,
screen.
hamburger. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
Um, in which screen we shouldn't have the hamburger menu?
After we click the icon and where the scanning screen basically.
Oh, okay, in the scanning screen. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I think that was actually maybe a good insight that he just had about the scan recipient's Lightning invoice or Bitcoin address QR code. Maybe it's just simpler to just say scan recipient's QR code, because if Bitcoin
Yeah.
Beach Wallet is capable of reading LN URL and Bolt 11 Lightning invoices and on-chain addresses and BIP21, and in theory, someone could make a QR code of their Lightning address. So, like, if it can read multiple QR code formats, just maybe simplify it to QR code. But I thought it was interesting. I just had this epiphany while he was talking about like trying to explain the different formats to people, and it's a interesting kind of philosophical conundrum, because, like I said, this screen right here is kind of a failure state. This means that the user has been given an on-chain address by somebody instead of a Lightning invoice, and maybe they're comfortable with it, taking 10 minutes to an hour, and then they can distribute their payment. But maybe they do want to, make an instant payment, and then they get here. Well, here's the epiphany I had while he was talking. We're giving education to the user here who's holding the phone in their hand, trying to send money, and we're trying to educate them about what kind of QR codes or formats to use. But the person who needs the education is not them. The person who needs to get the education is actually the other person that they're trying to send to.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to criticize you for that, Mia. I'm just saying it's an interesting kind of design problem, because it's like that's the person who actually needs the information is on the other end. They actually need to know, oh, this is how I go to Chivo and choose a Lightning invoice, or this is how I use a different wallet or whatever. So it's like, how do you impart that information to the other person? That's kind of the challenge.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Just like
Yeah.
it makes me think that copy could almost be like, would you like to send instantly? Ask the recipient for a Lightning address, and like It's like the more you're at a store and you ask, right? Like, I mean, I was in El Salvador and had to show people how to create one, but I think it's a long game where, hopefully default to Lightning in the future, but in the short term, if we prompt people to ask for a Lightning address, like maybe it'll help, push people in that direction.
Yes, right. Regarding providing QR code description after the scan, on flow number 1, it's done. It tells you what you scan. It's just on flow number 3, it will be a little bit trickier. However, if you click what you scan, you should be able to see if it's a Lightning invoice or a Bitcoin address. Okay, one last thing I want to ask your opinion on is regarding if it was clear in all the flow. Thank you, Artipa. If it was clear in all the flow where to find your transaction proof. I know for this one I included in all of them, so.
I thought it was pretty clear because I feel like you would go back and I would say like, okay, go through the flow, choose my account, review payment, and then I feel like it always gave me a proof thing at the end. Come on, slide. Pretty. Yeah,
it's
and
also
then
here on the home screen, it's like, it's pretty much just in your face. Like, do you want to see your recent transactions? Click here. And also you've added in this little bit of this interaction here, which is like, it's just pulling my eye to it and saying, hey, click here. I don't know if that shows up on mobile as well. But it's, to me, also with the direction of this arrow, it feels almost like the arrow should be facing downwards, not upwards. I don't know. That's just like my brain kind of wants it to face downwards. I don't know why. It's might be because I'm used to that in other applications.
Can you show me the screen, what you mean?
Oh, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. This one over here, this arrow that's moving, it's inviting and pulling my eye into, hey, you want to see your transactions, go here. But the direction of the arrow, so this is very well done in terms of how that little bit of that interaction is pulling me into wanting to interact with it. But it almost feels like the direction of the arrow should be down, but that's maybe because it's something that I'm used to seeing in other applications, that the arrow always faces down, not upwards.
Yeah. Regarding the arrow for the recent transaction and all that, I've gotten that feedback that it wasn't clear, so I will definitely modify that to make it clearer that it will be a swipe action, or change this to be just a simple button that you click on it.
Ah, there we go. That worked. Oh, see, that took a little bit of figuring out. Oh, so you swipe it, so you kind of drag it up.
Yeah, especially on desktop, it's not easy, I guess. So yeah. Okay, another question I have for you guys is in flow number 1, when you go all the way through one transaction, in your transaction details, what do you think of the information bubble there?
Okay. Go through all of the transactions, review payment. This one here, this yellow one?
No, go all the way to the end of the transaction, and then and access the transaction details.
Yeah.
After you send the transaction.
Send to send. Oh, okay, and I'm going to click your payment proof is in your transaction details. Cool. So what do you think of this one? Is there a bubble here? Oh, all these ones. Okay.
I can't imagine what other information you would add to this screen to make it more complete. Like there's, like I feel like there's everything I need to know is here. So that's cool. Having said that, does it like does this work as proof for the user? See, I don't know, because it's it's kind of new technology. A lot of people are coming into this for the first time. Do they know what a payment pre-image means? Probably not. That's okay. Do they know what a BBW ID is? They probably don't. So it may be the sort of thing where, someone takes Bitcoin Beach Wallet, they send it to Chivo. Chivo's like, no, I haven't gotten it yet. And then the person pulls up their phone, like, well, here's the transaction details. Here's the payment proof. This is proof that I, paid you. does the person on the other end recognize this as proof? Do they know what to do with this? I don't know, but they could take a screenshot and share it. But another thing about it is that it's a page full of really formal, official-looking information. So maybe it's like, wow, that looks like some proof that the payment happened. I don't know if I'm just rambling here. I don't know if it makes sense, but like I like it. It's complete information. I think it remains to be seen if this counts as proof to customers, but I think it's a good, complete transaction detail screen.
Yeah, for me, same with Stephen, is that the screen feels very complete to me. I also, when testing out Blixt Wallet, people were really, when they're sending their first transaction, they're really like, how can I check that it's gone through completely? So this transaction details solves that piece of that puzzle of finishing their like, oh, I feel good now, it's really gone through. Also that you have the date and the time here, you're giving a status over here. This is really brilliant. Maybe something could be more visual to highlight, I don't know, visual hierarchy in terms of the status, because I guess this is like the most important thing that the user wants to know, but yeah, maybe not. And when I click on this here, it's showing me the 2 questions which you wanted to answer in your problems, which is user are getting high fees on chain. So you're answering those questions over here. It's brilliant. I really, really like it. And then same critique as Stephen, payment pre-image. That's quite of a bit of a mouthful to understand. So maybe that's something to think about. Maybe just changing how it's worded. But yeah, that's about. But then again, they can also click here if they want to understand what that is. Maybe you can just call it is your proof that you paid. So you could maybe even just call it proof payment. That's it.
And in parentheses, put it as payment pre-image.
Yeah, that's.
Well, and really, it doesn't even matter to me. I wasn't saying that we shouldn't call it pre-image. I think it's good information to have all that. Like, sometimes you're on your computer and it's like, hey, here's this piece of software I'm using. It's real easy, and then you go preferences, advanced, and then you see a bunch of stuff that you don't understand. That happens sometimes. I mean, I think users are accustomed to the idea that like there's sometimes an advanced tab, tucked away, and you don't know what some of it means. If you scroll down this transaction details list, same way if you get a receipt from a grocery store, the top of the receipt's going to be good information. I bought bread for this many dollars. You go long enough down that receipt, eventually you're going to get into some like technical stuff like employee ID, transaction ID, and then you're like, whoa. But I mean, I think it's understandable that, you get an official document. You're not going to understand every single thing on there, and that's okay. Sometimes the information needs to be there. So I think that having that information like payment pre-image and BBW ID, that's all good information that I would expect to see in a complete transaction receipt. The only remark I was making is just that, like, I don't know if I can't guarantee that the person on the other end of the transaction, like, I don't know if this builds trust or not. Like, the person with the failed Chivo wallet that hasn't received the payment and won't get the notification for 24 hours, like, does it matter to them? I don't know. But I think it's totally fantastic that the transaction details screen is robust and complete and has all the information you need. And I like that the more complicated technical information is tucked away at the bottom of the receipt,
Fully agree with Stephen. Yeah. There is, Stephen, the point that he made about, when you go to supermarket, there's like half of the receipt that you don't really understand. And you've left that half of things people likely don't understand all the way at the bottom of the screen. The only thing just thinking out loud with that is maybe if someone wants to be really picky and they go to that screen and they see like pre-image and they want to be really particular, and then they contact your customer support asking you like, what does that mean? Maybe they didn't understand. Maybe they didn't click the information button, so that might be, but then I guess you'll see that because you'll get that as questions coming through, and then you can always just change it. So should be good. Yeah.
Okay. I know we're already past 10. Can I show you guys one last thing and then I'll let you go?
Cool.
Personally, I'm happy to keep going. Yeah.
Okay, if you have to jump more, I understand it might be late on your side, or don't worry.
Yeah, I'm happy to do another 10 minutes and then I'll jump.
Okay, so could you guys go to flow number 1, please? And then go to test 4.
Flow 1, send, scan lightning, test 4. Got it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm there.
Flow 1.
Then just continue the process of it.
Okay.
And just let me know your thought, and going all to the end in the transaction details page.
Okay, e-payment, it's final. All right. Were you wanting me to look at something on this screen here?
Yeah, the Bitcoin network fee information bubble.
Max 50 sats.
Me was go ahead, Stephen.
No, you're good. You said.
An idea that I now got also with reviewing this one is the Bitcoin network fees. Just speaking from experience, because I've used my Lightning wallet to pay people in like the US and then pay people in Europe. Now, although my Bitcoin wallet will register like, hey, she's based in the EU, automatically show network fees in euros. Sometimes if I'm transferring to someone in the US, then I'd want to see the network fees in USD. So it might be an option. And then I want to not, go to the default of euros. It might be an option to add in the option of toggling from USD to euros. Also here, toggling from USD to the different currencies rather than the default. Because otherwise, I guess the user would have to go to settings. They'd have to change the currency, which is what I've had to do actually on 2 wallets that I've used.
Yeah, I understand totally your point, Mo. Actually, the multiple currency is a feature we're talking about. We just didn't get to it yet to implement it, but I'll keep your idea in mind regarding the toggle, maybe not needing to change the default and go back and see different amounts. Yeah.
Perfect. You're already thinking about it. So, well, brilliant. Yeah, but no, this looks great to me. There's, yeah, it's the only thing is it feels a little bit like there's a lot of text on the screen. This is just a little bit of an initial impression. Yeah. I don't know if there is a way to reduce the text on the screen in any way. I know that all the information is important, but I wonder if in any way the text could be just maybe a little bit reduced, but I don't know how that would be done. So maybe that's just, yeah, some issue.
Yeah. No, I definitely rethink the design of this page. I've been having a little bit of difficulty with it, but I'll rework on it, and I have an idea now how to make it better. So, yeah.
Perfect. But yeah, overall, like I love what you've done. Just, yeah, it's great. Okay. I really like a lot of stuff that you've done.
It took a second for me to kind of understand what was being said with the network fee. I guess I'm just used to, with Bitcoin wallets, I'm used to the idea that like I choose the fee at the end, but that's always kind of a complicated thing for the user. And so it's kind of nice how it just took me a second to wrap my head around what was happening. But it's saying, okay, it's a max of 50 sats, I'm trying to interpret in my head that what this means. It sounds like Bitcoin Beach Wallet is going to basically try and get the lowest transaction fee it can for the user. And it's like, okay, your fee is going to be a max of 50 for this transaction. We might not need all of that. So if we don't need all of it, you'll get some of that back. Is that kind of what the message is trying to tell me?
Yeah. And also, the message that I was wondering if you click the information bubble, if it's I know you already know that information. Okay, it doesn't seem
See, it doesn't. The information bubble doesn't work for me.
okay. I might show it to you offline then. But
Yeah, perfect.
yeah, if you just slide to send, if you send the transaction, what do you think about that?
All right, you can initiate payment. Confirmation time can take between 10 minutes to a few hours. Track your payment with the transaction hash ID available in the payment details. It's also your payment proof.
I really like it that you've shown confirmation time. Maybe because users can want to see information really fast. And sometimes it might be an idea to show the time, I don't know, with something like a loading something or something like a bit more visual. So then you would actually remove this first line and then you would show something visual here. And then you only have track your payment. And maybe that can just be track your payment and then they can click on it and see the rest of the text. To reduce the information on the screen. Just out loud.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I think about the screen right here. I don't think that the sentence is necessary. Track your payment with the transaction hash /ID available in the payment details. It's also your payment proof. Like, I feel like this could be entirely simplified. It could just be like, confirmation time can take between 10 minutes to a few hours. Track your payment status here. Because, like, ultimately, it seems to me like the simplest way for the user is they can either go tap here to go to the payment details and they can see the status here, or they can go from the home screen to the transaction list and tap on the transaction and see it here. So I kind of feel like we don't really need to be telling the user to copy transaction hashes or IDs or anything like that, when the path of least resistance is for them to just tap on it in their transaction list and see what the status is.
Okay.
Yeah, and also just another. Sorry, go ahead, Stu.
I was just going to say, no need to teach them that word if they don't need to know it.
And then another comment really is, it's, you've asked us for our help and our insights, and it's very easy for us to give insight into your work. But, I think if I was on the other end of the scale, receiving the feedback, you've done such a good job already, and it almost feels like it's something that's very good already that just needs that little bit of that polishing. So, yeah, I personally wouldn't be able to design what you've designed. So, kudos to you on what you've designed.
Well, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I mean, I really, really appreciate your feedback. It's good to have other designers' feedback because I mean, at the moment, I'm just the only one designer in the team. But yeah, it's really great, and thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate. Andrew, I'm just gonna ask one last question. So based on your opinions, guys, do you think I should just show flow number 1 and flow number 3 and disregard number 2, or I should still show all the flows to you?
I mean, me, our personal opinion about which one we like more, it might be completely different to what another user might experience.
Yeah.
So while we have said 1 and 3, you definitely might want to get a little bit more eyes on number 2, just to really rule out number 2 completely, if you want to rule out number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my 2 cents.
2 sats.
My 2 cents. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Yes, Andrew, I think you can, unless Steven has something to say. But...
Oh yeah, Steven, go ahead.
I didn't have anything to say, but yeah, I mean, same gist. I mean, I'm a big fan of 1 and 3. Yeah, if you wanted to get a couple more opinions on 2, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt. But I feel like 3 really, combines the best parts of each one of them. So, yeah, I personally, I think that 1 and 3 are all that you need, but wouldn't hurt to get some extra opinions on 2.
Cool.
Yeah, is there any other people in the call that wants to give an opinion or? Okay, thank you.
Yash Raj says, I love working with copy. Ping me if you think I can help around that.
Sorry, I had one question, and I'll make it like a survey, one-word answer question, so that we're not belaboring the points here. We can follow up offline, but can somebody click back home, whoever was showing that? I'll ask the question anyway. We have, yeah, so if you click back home, as Mia mentioned earlier, we do not have a button, a scan QR button, right? We have transfer, we have send, and we have receive. And so some wallets have a button in addition to the send button. They have a QR button, and so we've removed it. And my question to the group would be, do you love it? Do you hate it? Or are you not sure? Moving without an actual QR specific button. Bo, you're muted.
Myself, I said to me it feels just fine. No QR button.
Yeah, it feels fine to me also.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
All right. Thank you very, very much. I really, really appreciate. Yeah, I don't know how to thank you enough for that, but I'm really grateful. So thank you.
Keep on going, Millie.
Yeah, it's awesome work. Glad to see Bitcoin Beach Wallet improving every day. So yeah, if anybody wants to continue this conversation, I would just reach out to Andrew or Mia on Slack, or perhaps in the Galoy chat room with their Mattermost or whatever you're using these days. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. Thanks for joining, everybody. Let's see, how do I do that?